let me say a special good morning to one and all, those of you who are listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9. Good morning to you. Those of you viewing GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, or Channel 20, let me say an awesome good morning to you also. Hope all is well with everyone this morning and everybody's doing A-OK. Those of you who are viewing and listening via social media platforms, whether it's the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, good morning. Those of you via GBN's webpage, gbn.gd, welcome to another edition of To The Point for today, Wednesday, the 15th of November. I'm your host, GT, with you this morning. And usually on Wednesdays, you know, we do entertain various departments of government. And for some reason, the other, we had some last-minute cancellations, which will now lead to us having a basic open line program this morning. So your calls are welcome. 435-2041, 435-2041. You know the basic rules that I should apply. Keep whatever device in the background turned off or the volume to a minimum when you're calling in, and keep your comments short, please. It's an open line. I don't have any specific topic for us to converse on this morning, which means it's up to you folks who are listening and viewing. Give me that call and share your concerns. There's always some concern that you have that you may want to speak about. Feel free to do so this morning. 435-2041. It's an open line session this morning here on To The Point, and I certainly know there's lots that you folks would like to speak about, and feel free to do so. There probably something that is happening within your community that you would like to, of course, show some make a point about that you have been concerned about. So feel free to do so. Let's go to the phone line and entertain our very first caller for this morning. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, GT. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, sir. How about you this morning?
Pretty all right. It's a pleasant day, so we got to get out and get going, doing what we have to do.
I concur. So good.
Yeah, GT, one of the things that bothers me or perhaps trouble me a little bit is as individuals, as people in a community, especially those that might have the opportunity or might have the eagerness to be in management position or decision-making level. I often wonder if we, and when we get to that level, or that desired position, whether we see ourselves carrying a responsibility or seizing an opportunity to enjoy the environment or the atmosphere of that position. So that bothers me. It bothers me a lot. And I say this to say that we should know that we have a responsibility for and foremost, whether it's to our immediate family, whether it's to the organization that we work for, whether we work on our own and we have employees or whatever. We have a responsibility. And that takes me to the point that I want to bring home, governance. For example, for some time, we didn't have what you call a people's elected opposition in the House of Representatives. Fortunately, whatever the reasons, we have that now in place. And it is sad that the opposition is behaving like that. And it tells me the feelings that they had, or what comes out from the two last consecutive terms when they had absolutely no opposition, elected by the people. No. Did that become, that position, or whatever, that position then, does it become a phobia, or a way of thinking, or that is the desire? Or whether or not these individuals should see themselves have a responsibility to the people or the public who so desire to put them where they are. GT, it is sad. But we must be mindful and we must be cognizant at all times. We have yesterday, which is gone, today, which is in front of us, and tomorrow, we hope that we'll get there. So it's a process. So it's something that is moving. We goes forward. So we have to be very, very careful on our behavior, our action, and how we see and understand, one, the corporate responsibility, and two, the moral obligation. So I wish and I hope and pray that the people that are supposed to be in Parliament or who is in the House of Representatives understand the corporate responsibility and the moral obligation to the nation as a whole. So they give us, the general public, an opportunity to move forward in a progressive way. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Great way to open the, of course, the segment this morning, and interesting contribution there from you. 445-2041, 445-2041. Open line this morning here on To The Point. Feel free to give me that call. Make your contribution this morning. There's probably something that's affecting you some way or the other, and you certainly want to speak about it. Let's go back to the phone. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Telesford.
Good morning to you, sir.
Greetings. A couple of points I'd like to raise there, Mr. Telesford. Number one, I'm a little concerned that in recent times, to be precise, weekend on Sunday in St. Lucia, or so-called Prime Minister made such a remarkable speech and so on, and was so welcomed by the St. Lucian people. As per your news items yesterday. But Mr. Telesford, there's another side to the story. Relative to the presentation of the Prime Minister of Grenada in St. Lucia, have you heard about the other side, Mr. Telesford?
I certainly have. I have heard about it.
You
yes.
have or haven't?
I have heard about it.
I'd like you to recommend it to your staff there, your newsroom, that they publish an article on that too. Because he went there, and of course he's young, and the exuberance of his youth, he's very flexible. So it's easy for him to lift his legs and put his foot into his mouth, or feet into his mouth. But he did put his feet into his mouth, going into the people of the place and telling them the things that he said. I don't want to repeat it here. But it's important that Grenadians get to know that too. It is not nice and dandy that he went out there and enjoyed, and he was so happily received, No, there was another side to it, and I think the Grenadian people entitled it. The media, Mr. Telesford, the media. Item 2. There is a story on that meeting of the Finance Committee and all of that. Is it the Finance Committee or the Public Accounts Committee? Is it? Which one of them?
I'm not too sure which one. Which one.
Anyway,
I didn't follow so much.
The Public Accounts, I think it is. Whichever it is, Mr. Telesford. This matter is unfortunate that it has to blow that way. But it's apparent to me, based on what I've gathered, read and heard, this matter is a parliamentary matter. And therefore, it should have been handled by the Clerk of Parliament. It bothers me that is the leader of government business that has to call or inform the other people on the other official opposition. I want to stress this. For 2 cycles, electoral cycles prior, we had whitewash, 15 seats to none. And in the latter part of the second tenure, there was one member of the opposition, and he too suffered abuse. Documents kept away from him, left uninformed of matters to be discussed. In other words, that was the trend. But I must indeed say, we voted in this country to bring changes, to bring discipline, to bring accountability, to bring responsibility, to bring decency, compliance with the procedures, the SR&Os, the regulations. That is what we voted for, to bring about change in this here country. You want to tell me you want to continue to do the same thing that the others used to do? Are we going anywhere? pay attention. This meeting was scheduled. It was scheduled for the 17th. All of a sudden, because of, and mind you, these trips and things had to be planned in months, with months in anticipation. These things are not things that they call you this week and say, we're going to meet in Saudi Arabia and we want you there. No. And they had meetings prior to with the committee where they agreed on a date. And the date had to be upheld. No. In all parliament, the parliamentarians don't go to work every day, so people have their lives to live too. It's been like that forever. So they plan their things and so on, and they have other business to attend to. They go to them. You can't just call them out. You shouldn't without proper consultation. Just call them and say, we want to change it and you have to be there. No. I am in the side and I am just looking at the logic of it and the decency of it. You can't just call them, so we change it from the 17th, come out here. If you can't, the hell with you. No. This has to change because we're not changing anything of our behavior. No, they put in, I'm going to say this in Grenadian to finalize. They're putting thing in Keith Mitchell on their mouth because they're doing the same thing that Keith Mitchell and them used to do. And you expect to bring about change in the country? No. You have to respect the people. There is an official opposition in the country. It is not a question they were 15-0. No. There is, and they have to part of their duties, their responsibility. That's what the system is set up to be. So I'm saying I'm not here nor there. I'm saying that the regulations should hold steadfast always. And this is a parliamentary matter. And therefore I find deficiency and the reliction of duty in the clerk of parliament to not straighten this matter out prior to it reaching where it has reached here. There is another matter I would like to raise, but I'll come back a little later if time permits.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your contribution also. Thank you so much. 445-2041, 445. Open line this morning here on To The Point. Feel free to give me that call, express your views and concerns here on To The Point this morning. We're moving down to 16 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour here on Classic Radio, GBN TV. And good morning to those of you at home who are viewing and those who are viewing out there in the diaspora via, of course, our social media platforms. Good morning to you. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Yes, I'm a disabled elderly. I called with an urgent situation. I heard the fire chief spoke last week. Mm-hmm. If there's any problems, we to call it in. When I called in several times to police, they gave a guy named Elton Benjamin, a vagrant, occupied my building, and they gave him notice to leave. I'm trying to reach out to international.
Caller, for some reason or the other, you're breaking up a wee bit, so I'm not getting all the details that all the information that you're trying to pass out. I'm not sure if it's your location, but I'm not getting you properly.
I think my location. I'm international. I'm my senior.
Okay. Okay.
I am sick. I went to the hospital. When I came back, Drake Vagan took over occupied my building in Belmont. His name is, right now, is Elton Benjamin. The police gave him a report to leave. He chose not to leave. So now I have to reach out to the international community to give me assistance. I'm ill, senior, and he chose not to leave. So I'm wanting to know on the fires. I heard the fire chief spoke last week. If people having any problems, he threatened to burn the building down. He threatened me, chased me out of my own building. And the police went and told him to leave, and he chose not to leave. So I'm passing this on to the international community for help because I am ill, senior, and I want to know how can I get more assistance because the police seem to not have the power to do what they said that they're trying to do.
All right. All right, caller. That is suddenly a bit of a concern there. The caller is stating that someone has moved into his residence and seems to not be getting as much assistance as he needs from the police, if I'm getting the information that he's saying correctly. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, my friend, and to the listeners and viewers.
Good morning to you.
I want to respond to a comment on the position taken by Mr. Rolo in respect to that finance committee meeting that's supposed to be held sometime. And I want to fundamentally agree to certain aspects of his position, but I want to disagree with him. You see, my point is, This is not something that is happening every day. Based on how our parliament is structured, this is something that rarely happens. And if it is that some travel arrangement on the government side, because the government is in control, they are the ones that have to put forward the agenda. And if it is based on the nation's business, that based on travel arrangements that are important, that you have to push back or bring forward a particular date of engagement where finance committee has to be made. Nothing is wrong with that, as opposed to you willingly just saying, well, look, I'm in charge and I'm going to do this, whether you like it or not. That is my time. That is when you're invited. Come. If you don't want to come, that is your business. I think we have to be honest and fair with ourselves. The government is in control. They are the one who is governing the country. And if it is that some matter comes up where persons who are supposed to be part of that committee would be out of state on nation business, what is wrong with a change of date? And I cannot see it in the same line, in the same category as where you willy-nilly or you just ad hocly just propose another date that was already planned. And as I said, fundamentally agree with some of the principles that Mr. Rolo has put forward. If you start in a meeting and you plan a particular date, I think it should go forward. However, we have to think about something that might be able to. You don't know. We don't know whether those persons who have had to travel was aware of certain travel arrangements, Mr. Rolo, around this time of year. I'm telling you, some of those meetings come up ad hoc. I can tell you.
All right.
It is a standard of fact. And I'm saying just a little adjustment. But I believe it's a deliberate decision on the part of the opposition to just be stubborn. I mean, I'm saying that without any form of disrespect or whatever. They are just decided to disrupt things. Any opportunity that they get, they want to put plugs in the way. And it is unfortunate. Get the nation business done.
All right, caller. Thank you
very much.
Thank you so much for your contribution also. Folks, we drew for a break. We're going to take it. We're coming back with more of your calls here on To The Point this morning, the open line edition. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
National Lotteries Authority is a proud sponsor of many cultural activities within the Tri-Island state of Grenada.
My name is Anderson Matterson, also known as Leftist, and I'm a calypsonian and string band music player from Carrico. I support the games of the National Lottery Authority because culture benefits tremendously. Annually, the NLA supports the Carrico Pitamatic Carnival, the Carrico String Band Music Festival, and all regattas, among other activities. When I play the game of the NLA, I can see where my money goes, and it's an investment into our culture.
Yes, Grenada, when you play the games of the NLA, you enable us to invest in the skills and talents of our people in the areas of sports, culture, and nation building.
I want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it. Eliminate violence.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. It's To The Point for today, Wednesday, the 15th of November, the open line edition. The telephone number to, of course, make your contribution this morning, 435-2041, 435-2041. Good morning to those of you via social media platform, especially the Facebook page. I'm seeing lots of comments. We'll be getting to those comments shortly. You also have the option of sending your comments, or your contribution via the WhatsApp, 435-2041. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you today?
I am doing great. Good morning again.
I don't think the problem is the change of date. I think the problem is the manner in which they did it. To the last caller who was calling and saying nothing wrong with the change of the date. Maybe they could have given them maybe a week notice or so about the date. I think that is where the problem lies. That's my contribution this morning.
Thank you, caller. Thank you also. 435-2041, 435-2041. Open line this morning here on To The Point. Feel free to give me a call and make your contribution. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, GT.
Good morning to you.
I want to say that without any fear of contradiction or accusation, that in any case, the so-called opposition, to use another caller's famous word, would be, their response would be similar. If you remember, after the debate, when the Prime Minister did his budget debate, and there was supposed to be a conversation on your network, you have one of the representatives turning up there. In fact, that's recording in a calypso now, saying that they can't participate, coming there to say they can't participate because they didn't get enough information. This group have never been a cooperative group. They have always been a disruptive group. Based on the nature of them, they were created on Union Island to be a cancer in the soul of this country, and they would do everything. I mean, they were supported into returning to power in 2013 because there are some people who didn't understand the ploy of this gang to unseat the government at the time when the parliament was prorogued. And they were greatly assisted by those who used that without understanding the context. This gang, and I call them a gang, have no interest in the welfare of the country. I mean, they would do everything. The leader himself spent over 10 hours in Parliament in the 1990s talking. He wasn't even a leader of the opposition at the time, Miss Winifred, the late Miss Winifred. I mean, disrespecting the woman. The man disrespect the speaker, Mr. George Maguire, when Mr. Maguire told him out because he will refute a statement that he couldn't prove. I mean, there are many incidents. Called the shortest debate on the budget when he first came to power in 95. After 95, only 3 people spoke on the budget debate because he didn't want Dr. Francis Let's just have this go. I mean, this man, and he said it later on, that politics for him is a game. This is not a game. So he would play a game. He know he have been able to, you see, that's where the ruling party had to come in. They had to understand the machination of this man. He have no interest, he and his gang, just in making disruption so he could be at the hem. So he could come and talk about oil and gas and at the last moment, and people allow themselves to be fooled. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you also. 435-2041, 435-2041. If you want to get on the To The Point this morning, it's an open line. 27 minutes after the hour. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
I just want to make one statement. We in politics must understand what is the purpose of opposition. The opposition is intended to oppose and to throw out the government. That's all opposition do. They want to get back in power, so they say and do anything so that they frustrate the government and make the government change their ways and call elections, and hopefully the opposition would win again. That's the purpose of opposition. So all this talk about the opposition is the last guy calling, making reference to the fact that they are a bunch of whatnot and whatnot. He must understand what is the purpose of opposition in any country that have democratic policies. They better find out.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. 435-2041 open line this morning here on To The Point, folks. 28 minutes after the hour. We're going back to the phone line. Let's see who we have again. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Telesford, and how are you?
Doing good, my dear. Good morning to you.
All right. My point is, with the opposition, if Keith Mitchell and Clarice Modest cannot rule and control, they mash up things. That's their policy to destroy, especially Clarice Modest. Have a good day.
Have a good day yourself. 435-2041, 435-2041. And we seem to have a dominating conversation this morning. For some reason or the other, that issue relating to, of course, the committee parliament meeting the other day seemed to be causing, of course, a sturdy debate this morning. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. You know, when I listen to the program and I listen to the callers, Grenadians condoning a lot of wrong things. When something is wrong, it's wrong. And when something is right, it's right. You cannot...
Caller, before you continue, hold one second. Before you continue, could you have whatever device in the background lowered, please? It's a bad distraction. Please do so, or you may have to call us back. 435-2041, 435-2041. That's the number if you want to get on to the point this morning. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, good morning. You're welcome. Caller, good morning.
Sorry to have to call you back. Just one point. One point.
Yes.
Do you know when the budget is expected to be presented?
The budget is expected to be presented on the 4th of December.
4th of December, just a couple of weeks from now. And that is the calculation that persons have to use for the information that is out there now.
All right.
Because all of those things have to happen before the budget is presented.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. 435-2041. And my appeal once again to our callers, please lower your television or radio in the background or whatever device that is playing or you did in the background, what you're using for listening or viewing. Please have it lowered or disconnected when you decide to call. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you ready? Good morning.
I'm calling back, and I want to find out, maybe you could broadcast and let us know what remarks were made by the Prime Minister in St. Lucia. Because I'm speaking to St. Lucians on my radio, and they are telling me that he made a fool of himself, and they're very upset, and there are a lot of comments in St. Lucia, but I didn't hear what comments he made and what he said that created such a stir in St. Lucia. So maybe you could find it and broadcast it. Over.
All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. 435-2041, 435-2041. It's 29 minutes moving up before the top of the hour this morning, and if a caller comes within the next couple of seconds, I'll take him, or we go for a break. Let's go for the break, and we do have that caller, and then we take up the break after the caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, you had asked me to tone down the music.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution, please.
Yes. When something is wrong, it's wrong, and when it's right, it's right. Now, the opposition, I listened to them yesterday, right? And I listened to the other side. They said that they sat in a meeting and they had asked, they all agreed to put it on the 17th. Right? Lo and behold, they come and they said the opposition come up, and apparently they didn't notify them or whatever it is, and it's to the 13th without no notification. Right? Because they have to travel whatever it is. Now we are hearing they travel to St. Lucian, and it's a bit of confusion between the St. Lucian people with the Prime Minister of Grenada. So they leave the Grenadian business, the people that put them there into office, and they travel to another country to go and make problem and not come in and serve the people and to do the Grenadian business people. All that man is doing is just traveling, leaving the Grenadian people business to go on his own business and not the Grenadian business. We're not hearing nothing. He only traveling and he not coming back and tell the Grenadian people nothing. If he get A, if he get B, what he go to do or what he ain't do. We need to hear something from him when he come back. I work with Gary government, come right down to the government before. right? And I know when Eric Matthew Gary travel, right, he used to come back and say he gets something, right? And other governments, other prime ministers, we need to hear something. As if we abandoned in Grenada, we are nobody in Grenada, as if they're for their own interests and not the Grenadian people business.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Folks, we do for a break. Let's take it. We're coming back with more of your calls. Stay with us here on To The Point.
We say, yeah, GBN we say, arts and culture living, yeah. Rock the box we say, I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box we say, I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box we say, we'll be jamming here on a Thursday. It's a
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point here on the Classic Radio and GBN TV. Good morning once again. So those of you via our social media platforms, whether it's the YouTube channel or the Facebook page, good morning to you and welcome back to The Point. Open line edition this morning. And of course, feel free to give me that call, 435-2041, 435-2041. If you do have, of course, an issue that you may like to speak of, feel free to do so. Let's go back to the phone line. We do have a caller. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Morning, GT. How are you?
I'm doing great, Auntie. How are you this morning?
Well, they're hanging in the name of the Lord, thanking God for life.
All right. Go ahead with your contribution. Go ahead.
I just want to say something about the budget thing. When the Prime Minister will do the budget, he should send his ministers around, to see people in different communities. The neediest and the most needy, what they need before he go preaching, because a lot of people need help, and they're not getting the help they need. I have some people around me, they don't even have a bathroom, they don't have a toilet, I'm not in rainfall, and I don't go by a neighbor. It's not right. People suffering in Grenada here because a lot of people need help and they're not getting the help they need. The building they're living in is start and it can't finish. Material on the ground dropping, waiting for help from the government. And up to no one is coming around. I think the Prime Minister has to send his people out. He take a rounds, make a roundabout to all different communities and see what the most needed and neediest people need before he do the budget so he could help them in a quick time that they should get the help they need.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. 435-2041. Let's go back to the phone line. Good morning to you, caller. How are you doing? Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hey, GT, how you do?
Not too bad, sir. What about you?
Boy, are they in Mepui? You know Mepui?
I'm clueless. I am clueless.
Patois, St. Lucian Creole for old talk.
All right.
Or bad talk. Depends on the context in which it is used.
All right.
Now,
nice to know that.
Deacon Mitchell was invited by the St. Lucia Labour Party to be the featured speaker at the convention, right? He spoke on an issue. He addressed the St. Lucia Labour Party on an issue that is St. Lucia. Well, he mentioned an issue that they have with Alan Chasney, the leader of the opposition, UWP, not being a St. Lucian by birth. He was born in St. Lucia, in Martinique, because of most likely health problems with his mother. And he grew up in Canada. He He went to school in Canada. His children are Canadians. They are going to school in Canada. When he was appointed as a senator around that time, he applied for U.S. citizenship. Now, it seems that the St. Lucia Labour Party supporters, they are very touchy on that subject. And one of the mantra, there is a video that they had where he's saying, I'm a product of Canada. And Japierre, the current Prime Minister, saying, I'm a product of St. Lucia, I go to school in St. Lucia, etc. That seemed to be a bone of contention between the St. Lucia Labour Party and the UWP. They can make a statement in the convention that St. Lucians should vote St. Lucia, right? And when the guys go to Prime Minister, whoever it is, a party get invited to a convention, they literally go there to campaign, not as a head of government, they go there to campaign for the party inviting them. I suppose Grenadians who are as old as me would remember Son Mitchell of St. Vincent came to Grenada, and at the Trade Center, I think, he said so. Eric told him that the man to rule Grenada is Dr. Mitchell. That's Dr. Keith Mitchell. So that's what goes on in convention. But however, obviously, the opposition, St. Lucia, the UWP, taking this up and keep saying that, well, not, they took it up and they're saying that that is interference in the internal affairs of St. Lucia. Well, one can say that it's an internal issue, but the issue has been bandied about, especially in the last St. Lucia election, and the guys are going around with the slogan, vote Lucian. Yeah, vote Lucian. Literally, don't vote nobody who is not St. Lucia. I don't know the St. Lucian Constitution say to that like ours, that you must be a Commonwealth citizen to run for office. And even in our case, that was abused because we had people holding office who were American citizens. And then it had a case where a court case trying to prove that Peter David cannot stand for election because he's a Canadian. But you didn't read the part of Canadian Commonwealth citizen. That's it. So one would expect those things up and down, depends on the side of the fence that you sit. There are St. Lucians, the St. Lucia Labour Party, like what was said by Dick Mitchell. I can attest to that. I worked in St. Lucia. I have a lot of friends in St. Lucia. And they were on to me. As a matter of fact, when Deacon entered the convention hall, a friend in St. Lucia called me, say, boy, I wish we had a prime minister like yours. We love him. You see the love he get by entering? Right. I have another friend, strangely, he tell me, our prime minister was out of place. Leave the business alone. So like I said, and that friend was a UWP supporter, a staunch UWP supporter. So that's why it goes with the politics. But for people to come and say St. Lucians, to give the idea that everybody in St. Lucia is against the statement made by Dick Mitchell, I think that is not right. But then again, everybody have their political agenda.
Thank you for the bit of clarification you offer. Thank you so much.
All right.
No problem, man. 435-2041. 435-2041. We do have another caller. Let's see if we do have one. Let's entertain this caller. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Hey, morning. Thank you very much for taking my call. Well, I love to hear Philly Dabo speak. Trust me on that. He has the facts so right. I mean, I was listening to the program yesterday also, and I'm so happy. I mean, the Prime Minister has done no disservice or no harm to anyone. He's made a genuine statement, and I don't see anything so wrong about that. I mean, we have so much anomalies that's happening in our country for the past 40, 50 years. I mean, hey, listen, I was beaten by the Mongols gang. I was called a communist, but I was called a conqueror, but I was called a squatter. I was called by too many names. You know what they call me right now? A travel. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just have to laugh because it just blow things out of proportion. Have a good day, sir.
Yeah, you too, caller. Thank you so much. 445-2041. We're moving up to 17 minutes before the top of the hour. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, morning. How are you doing? You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And I just don't understand why it is that people are justifying. You there?
Caller, go right ahead, please.
Yeah, justifying the reckless and irresponsible statement by Deacon Mitchell in the name of politics. Whether it's politics, whether it's religion, whether it's other. There are certain things that you don't say, and you're a political leader. The guy's a lawyer. You know that thing, so he should know better than that. So I don't know what these people are talking about because it's politics. You could just accept and say anything. Listen, there was a case right now, just recently in India, where they had barred, I think it's Gandhi, one of the Gandhis, from running. But I think the court said he could run because of something, but he was found guilty because he said something about the present Prime Minister, Modi, on a political platform, in a political meeting. And the man took him to task and he won the case. And I don't know what people are talking about because it's politics. Politics, they must just say anything. He is being reckless and that guy's an embarrassment to Grenada. And what I'm going about is that he's a lawyer. He has to do better than that, right? So I don't know why people justifying what he's saying, defending in the name of politics. If something is wrong, it's wrong. I just give the example. As a matter of fact, I think there was another case in the States too, where the person had to resign because he said something on a campaign. So you have these things. Oh, and in Trinidad too, you always have these things where people say things on campaign and other people and on political platform that people take them to task and win their case because you just don't give yourself a liberty like that. And that goes for whether it's NNP or NDC. I ain't just chastising one person alone. You will have to be, and that goes for me too, because I just be always on programs. And I, not perfect, but I'm very, very careful. I choose my words very carefully every time on a program because one thing I'm conscious of is that people could sue you on the radio station. So people have to be very, very, very careful on the whole because look, this leader, for example, he go and make an allegation about the 290,000. Up to now, he has not produced that cabinet document. Now, I am a taxpayer and I am paying him because he's my servant, he's serving me, and he has to give account to me. Anything that happens in cabinet, it is not a secret. He has been entrusted by me to conduct business on the nation's behalf, and he has to tell me about these things. Up to now, he make things there's nothing you could prove.
All right, caller.
Reckless and irresponsible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so just people have to be careful what they say, and not because of politics.
Thank you so much, caller. Thank you so much. We drew for a break. Let's take it. We come back with our final segment after the point. Stay with us, folks. Don't touch your dial.
A touch of class, presented by...
Episode of Caribbean Passport TV, we travel to St. Kitts and Nevis, visit a cocoa estate in Trinidad and Tobago, and listen to some steel pan music. And then we'll wind down with some paintings, right here on this station.
There are now 5, 10, 15-year survivors, even with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So if someone tells you just get your affairs in order and don't do anything, that's a mistake.
We need families who've been devastated by this disease to get on board so we can get more research and get to the cure.
Join us on Caribbean Medical TV right here on this station.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. To the point for today, Wednesday, the 15th of November. We have an open line segment this morning. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, good morning and welcome. Good morning to you, caller. Welcome.
Good morning, sir. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. Go right ahead, please.
You know, we had a serious heat spell couple weeks ago, and the farmers has lost a lot of produce. A couple days ago, we had some rain, and most of the farmers has lost again. They lost in marketing board. I mean, the farmers just losing, and it seems like nobody is talking about that. Nobody is lending another helping hand. You know, we have to understand it. St. Vincent, every week, is shipping on boatloads of stuff in Trinidad. They even shipping boatloads of stuff in Grenada. And our farmers here are suffering. It seems like nobody cares. Have a nice day, brother.
You too, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. And, of course, putting the conversation on another direction. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, the former Prime Minister, Dr. Kit Mitchell, when he went to the States, that he's go over there and say that the nurses and the doctors and them is stiffed, and nobody said nothing.
Okay, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution also. 435-2041. 435-2041. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Mr. Telesford, I beg your indulgences for a minute.
Go right ahead, sir.
Yes, I just want to draw reference to something I heard a couple days ago in a press conference with the Prime Minister and some other ministers of government. It's a matter of grammatical pedantry. I know this bores a lot of people, but I believe and it is known that words only belong to their context. And additionally, you can't tell me what you think you're telling me and expect me to understand something differently. He described, he outlined his participation in about 3 or 4 different activities in London, in the UK, should I say. UK, I don't want to... In which he explained, he said crystal clear and used the verbal structure, I would have done, I would have gone, would have plus the past participle. Now I have one simple question for this learned gentleman. What do you expect me, sir, and I don't care about anybody else in this context, to understand? You see, because I know that to know, you have to understand. What do you want me to understand when you say that you would have done this and you would have done that and you would have done the next? I need some clarity there, Mr. Telesford, because this is beyond ridiculous that the leader of our country, who is a lawyer, listen, for Christ's sakes, I wish it not like that, but I'm certain that in the prisons of this here country, His Majesty's prison, to give it the right name, there are people languishing in jail for crimes they would have committed. I want to get some clarity on this matter. I'd like to find out what exactly expects me to understand when he said to me that he would have done this and he would have done that, without giving me, of course, a third conditionality for not having done it. Thank you very much, Mr. Telesford,
Thank you
and have
so
a
much.
nice day, will you?
You too, sir. Have a good one. 435-2041. 435-2041. Let's go back. 10 minutes left on today's program. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, I quite agree with Mr. Rulo. There seems to be a style of language, totally ungrammatical, used by people in high places, maybe to make what is saying sound pretty. I don't know. But I am very distressed about what the politics is doing to the minds of Grenadians. In Grenada, I see basically 2 groups of people, but they can be called by one name, party arts. And a party art, to my mind, is no different from an AD art, because the party is always right because you support the party. And we must bear this in mind. Once you belong to the LNP, NDC is always wrong. NNP is always right. Once you belong to the NNP, NDC is always wrong. NNP is always right. We need patriots, people who can think Grenada and see these people in power as politicians whom you have to be constantly assessing, evaluating to determine their suitability for the job that they are doing. And I noticed recently there has been some level of arrogance in the language used by certain state officials. The issue in St. Lucia may sound simple, but it's a serious one. No regional statesman should enter into another country in the region and interfere in the politics. Leave the politics out. Even though you're supporting the party that you go to speak for, please don't try to put politics into the people's affairs. As a matter of fact, you must bear in mind that the party in power today might lose tomorrow, and the party you try to hit at might come in power, and you have to face them. Be careful. This arrogance must stop. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you also. 435-2041. 435. Just a few more minutes left on today's program. We go back to the phone line. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to raise 2 points this morning. I just want to go back to the caller that called speaking about the farming.
Yes.
I too am a farmer, and I think that being the party in power right now, which is something that they heavily campaigned on before, farming is and food security is a big thing in the country right now. I find it rather surprising that we haven't heard any of the media houses coming across to express their concerns with that. If you go to any of the supermarkets now, you would notice that there's a lot of short crop that is not available anymore. So I think that some program, someone should definitely come out and take a look at that. In the first world countries out there, the developing countries, they have programs in place that you could get out there and assist farmers. And I'm not talking about financially, but at least in the ways of how they could mitigate the losses based on the climate changes that we're having right now. So I do think that that is something that needs to be, spoken about.
All right. Thank you so much, caller. Thank you for your contribution this morning, and certainly makes a whole lot of sense. 435-2041. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. My concern is I want the government to look into that. This morning, I went in town. I see an unfortunate man in town. He have on a jersey alone, and this thing hanging down as though he has some kind of whatever disease. This ain't looking good for the nation. It is not healthy. Remember, this is the tourist season, and the tourists like to take out pictures, so that will bring back to Grenada. So I want they look into that, to the most unfortunate people who just be just bothering around the town.
All right, caller, thank you so much. And I think I know who the caller is speaking about, and certainly is a concern there. 435-2041. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. A couple of things. The farmers who are calling in this morning, farmers need to be aware, someone brought up the subject, that they need to prepare their produce for sale. Many of them are bringing the potatoes and the yams full of mud and selling them by the pound. So you're buying mostly mud and some produce. They're picking the golden apples, etc., and they're not making an effort to make them presentable. You're buying eggs with feathers and foul poop on it. So that's the other side of the consumer side of the farming concern. A female caller called earlier, and she was criticizing Deacon Mitchell's speech in St. Lucia, and she said he was irresponsible in regarding some of what he said. She herself said that she is always very, very careful when she speaks on the show. And that is erroneous. She herself makes lots of negligent, almost rude, irresponsible statements. That caller, female caller, who said that you have to be careful when you speak. So being, she is correct Mitchell is overzealous and he likes to dabble in everything. And as a prime minister, he needs to stay in his lane and know what he can speak about and when he can speak about it. Also, there is the issue of a new hotel being built right on Dr. Groom's Beach in violation of our laws that says you must be at least 165 feet from the high water mark. MTV carried that on its news 2 days ago. No one is speaking about it. Why is there silence about the new hotel on Dr. Groom's Beach in Point Celine, built on the sand? Who gave them approval, and why is no one talking about it? They were very vociferous about it when it was on when Silver Sand was building on Grandad's Beach. Now the same company has moved to Groom's Beach, and no one is saying a word. Let's talk about that hotel on the beach in Point Celine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. And what a way to wrap today's program up. I want to thank all who contributed some way or the other to today's program. Thank you so much. And of course, you could join us again tomorrow once the Almighty permits, health, strength, and everything else. We will have another edition for you of To The Point. Have yourself a great day, folks. And this is where we say goodbye for this edition of To The Point. Jingle and Mingle is next here on Classic Radio.